much interested in that. So Srinivasacharya was very, very deeply attached to the process of chanting the holy name and always remaining quite serious in terms of always thinking about Krishna. And he was not having a regular childhood, I would say. So and he was also blessed by Goddess Saraswati. So Srinivasa wondered, how will I leave my mother and go away? I am still young. How can I possibly go alone to Vrindavan? Still, the Supreme Lord desires that I go there. So he was, because Narhari Sarkar came and said that you should go to Vrindavan. Yesterday, Mataji, you asked how old he was. I tried to find out, but I couldn't. But looks like he was in his teenage. So sometime later, Chaitanya Das fell ill. Chaitanya Das is his father, fell ill with a high fever that did not break for 7 days. In the end, he gave up his life. So that is all in one way pastimes. So in the end, he gave up his life. Srinivasa cried profusely and then performed all the rituals for his father's departed soul. As much as his father's death saddened him, however, his mother's pathetic condition saddened him even more. So his mother was in a very bad state. So that bothered him more. Lakshmi Priya cried, "O Lord, we had no son, and you kindly gave us one. Now, by the cruel arrangement of providence, my husband could not fulfill his desire. Our son is merely a child. How will he tolerate his father's death? He is only a small boy. How will he survive? Now I am alone with my son. What will happen to us?" So she was lamenting like this, Lakshmi Priya Mataji. Srinivasa was unhappy to see his mother's condition and he cried profusely thinking of his father. The village woman tried to pacify Lakshmi Priya. "Listen, Thakurani, there is no need to lament. Simply look at the beautiful face of your son and you will forget everything. Please pacify your mind and stop crying." Again, a voice was heard from the sky. "Oh, mother, why are you lamenting? You do not know your son's exalted qualities. Go to Yajigram and you will understand everything. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu ordered Sri Rupa Goswami to write books about bhakti. Your son will distribute love of God throughout the world. Therefore, take care of him nicely and give up your useless lamentation." She was trying to lament from the mundane plane, but there was a higher arrangement. Uh, that's the reason why Srinivasacharya's descent took place. So this um, this Akashmani revealed everything to Lakshmi Priya Mataji, saying that don't lament. Your son is not meant for just normal activities. He is selected and he is sent by the Lord to fulfill great desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Lakshmi Priya's grief subsided and she began to treat her son as her only life and soul. When the funeral rites were over, Srinivasa went to Yajigram to meet Narhari Sarkar Thakur. Then one night, as he was sleeping at Yajigram, Srinivasa dreamed that Lord Chaitanya was ordering him to go to Vrindavan. "How can I go to Vrindavan and leave my mother here?" he thought. "Besides, I am not yet qualified to go to Vrindavan." So, from one from one side, he had very deep desire to go to Vrindavan. On another side, after his father passed away, he is thinking that how can I leave my mother and go? And also, am I qualified to enter Vrindavan? That is the feeling we should all have. We should not think that yes, I am very qualified. We should always think that I don't have any qualifications to visit Dham, but by the mercy of Vaishnavas, I may enter. "How can I go to Vrindavan and leave my mother here?" he thought. "Besides, I'm not yet qualified to go to Vrindavan." But on Narhari Sarkar Thakura's advice, Srinivasa brought his mother to Yajigram. The village landlord gave Srinivasa a piece of land and helped him build a house. After residing there for some time, he left his mother, went to Srikhanda. So he came to Yajigram and the landlord gave him a house, means a land. So where he built a house and he left his mother there. After residing there for some time, he left his mother and went to Srikhanda. There he saw Raghunananda Thakur sitting under a tree. Raghunananda Thakur is another great exalted devotee. Seeing Srinivasa's effulgent form, Raghunananda Thakur asked, "Where have you come from?" "My name is Srinivasa and have just come from Yajigram to see your lotus feet." As soon as Raghunananda heard the name Srinivasa, he became filled with ecstatic love. He caught hold of Srinivasa and embraced him with great affection. "I have heard your name directly from the Lord's mouth," he said. "Now I am pleased that I have met you. Oh brother, let's first take darshan of Narhari Thakur, and then we can talk some more." So Raghunananda Thakur knew that Srinivasacharya is coming, and he had heard about Srinivasacharya's advent from Mahaprabhu's lotus mouth. So he was very much aware of his wonderful qualities. So he treated him and he greeted him very nicely. He also then took him to have darshan of Narhari Sarkar Thakur. Raghunananda led Srinivasa to Narhari Sarkar Thakur, who greeted him with great affection. "Come, my dear son," Narhari Thakur said. "Please sit down." Veerachandra Prabhu. Veerachandra Prabhu is son of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu and Janava Mata. Veerachandra Prabhu wrote me a letter saying that I should immediately send you to Vrindavan. So there is an beautiful arrangement here. So all the higher Vaishnavas' blessings are there on Srinivasacharya. Narhari Sarkar Thakur then mercifully placed his hand on Srinivasa's head so that Srinivasa immediately became filled with ecstatic love and fell unconscious. So a great mercy was given upon Srinivasacharya by Narhari Sarkar Thakur, who was a very pure devotee and who was associate of Mahaprabhu. So he had Krishna Prem, so he could give it to Srinivasacharya. So just by his will and by touching upon his head and blessing him, Srinivasacharya could feel ecstatic love and fell unconscious. A devotee named Nayana Sena, Nayana Sen was standing nearby and he quickly lifted Srinivasa and took him to his house. Later that day, Nayana Sena took Srinivas and Raghunanda to again meet Narhari Sarkar Thakura. All three offered their obeisances to the Thakura, who said, "Srinivasa, tell me how you wish to go to Vrindavan." Srinivas replied, "Oh Thakura, I don't know anything. How will I be able to travel to Vrindavan?" Narhari Sarkar Thakur said, "Lord Chaitanya has already informed Gopal Bhatta Goswami about your coming. I know that you are deceiving me by sending me to Vrindavan. I came from Chakandi just to take shelter of your lotus feet. I have surrendered myself to you." The Thakur explained, "Whatever you have said is all right, but I must inform you that Gopal Bhatta Goswami is your spiritual master." Means Srinivasacharya was thinking that if he takes shelter and receive diksha from Narhari Sarkar Thakur, he saw his guru in him. But Narhari Sarkar Thakur said, "No, the arrangement is in a different way." Gopala Bhatta Goswami, because see, he is thinking in this way. Srinivasacharya is going to be in Vrindavan all his life. Especially in olden days, Guru means when we receive diksha from Guru, when we submit to Guru, when we take shelter of Guru, usually disciple stays with Guru. Usually, and then he gets trained up by Guru. So he knew that he's going to Vrindavan. So there is no point in accepting him as disciple here, because if he considers me as Guru, uh, then if he lives in Vrindavan, so instructions from Guru is always taken on the head very much. I know you can all have hundreds of Shiksha Gurus, but even Diksha Guru, if it can be of where the person is, then it will be very beneficial. So he was thinking, okay, if he's going to Vrindavan anyways, he's going to live in Vrindavan for a long time. His mission is to accomplish Rupa and Sanatan's works distribution. So if he takes the shelter of Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who is much more younger then Rupa and Sanatan, then he can train him up nicely. He can give him good instructions. He can teach him the art of devotion. Then he can advance. So that was thinking of Narhari Sarkar Thakur. See, such is the wonderful qualities of higher Vaishnavas. Nowadays, it is many non-bona fide gurus. They're all interested only in collecting disciples, more and more disciples, collecting disciples. So such is not the quality of a guru. Once there was a there was a big guru who came to Sridhar Maharaj and asked, um, Maharaj, I have this problem. I think he came to Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, not Sridhar Maharaj, and said, I have a lot of issues, mentally. I'm not doing well because I have issues like I might fall down for my senses. So what should I do? And Puri Maharaj said straight away that you should stop taking disciples. No, so collecting disciples is also an offense in one way, and it can lead to one's fall down. So just collecting more number of disciples is no good. So the point here is Narhari Sarkar Thakur was such a exalted devotee that he was thinking good. He was only thinking of good to Srinivasacharya. I know that you are deceiving me by sending me to Vrindavan. I came from Chakandi just to take shelter of your lotus feet. I have surrendered myself to you. The Thakur explained, whatever you have said is all right, but I must inform you that Gopala Bhatta Goswami is your spiritual master. I cannot go against Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order. For now, you can stay here and chant the Lord's holy name. So he said that Mahaprabhu's order is such, so I cannot change it. So for now, you can chant the holy name. Srinivasa returned home and thought deeply about what Narhari Sakar had told him. He spent the entire night trying to decide from whom to take initiation. Then at dawn, Lord Gaurachandra mercifully appeared to him in a dream and said, so Mahaprabhu appeared in his dream and said, listen, Srinivasa, why are you thinking so much? You have appeared just to fulfill my mission. So there is no need for you to waste any more time. Go to Vrindavana quickly and take shelter at the lotus feet of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. He is very dear to me and he has whatever devotional literature Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis have compiled. All of them are waiting for you. When the Lord had finished, Srinivasa offered his obeisances with great devotion. The Lord then placed his lotus hands on Srinivasa's head and said, may your desire be fulfilled. Then the Lord disappeared. So he got a dream where Mahaprabhu himself came and instructed that he should go and take Diksha from Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Srinivasa's sleep broke and realized he must go to Vrindavan immediately. He went to see Narhari Sarkar Thakur and told him in detail about his dream. O Thakura, a golden child appeared to me in my dream last night and ordered me to go to Vrindavan to take shelter of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Narhari Sarkar Thakur was happy to hear this news and blessed Srinivasa, touching his head. May the abode of Vrindavan bestow mercy on you. I have written a letter to Veerachandra Prabhu, son of Nityananda Prabhu, asking his permission to send you to Vrindavana. You should stay here until I get a reply. So everything was getting arranged for him. So Narhari Sarkar Thakur had written a letter to Veerachandra Prabhu about him going to Vrindavan, permission from him. So this is the etiquette. We should take permission before we go to Dham from a higher Vaishnava, because their blessings, their direction will be there. While waiting at Sri Khanda, Srinivasa developed two desires: to see Lord Jagannath and to study Srimad Bhagavatam under Gadadhar Pandit. So he had two desires. To see Lord Jagannath means to go to Nilachal, that is Jagannath Puri, and to hear Srimad Bhagavatam under Gadadhar. When he asked Narhari Sarkar Thakur's permission to pursue these two desires, Thakur encouraged him and even arranged for a Vaishnava to accompany him to Nilachal. So when he expressed this to Narhari Sarkar Thakur, he was very happy. He said, "Oh, this is a great idea. So you can go to Nilachal, and from there you can go to Vrindavan. So you can have darshan of Jagannath, and you can also hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. Who else is who else is the um, best preacher than Gadadhar Pandit of Srimad Bhagavatam? Can we even imagine? Srimad Bhagavatam is what? What is it? It is nothing but it is the glories of Sri Krishna. And in deeper sense, it is all about the glories of Srimati Radharani. Means it is all glorifying Srimati Radharani's wonderful service to Krishna. That is Bhagavatam. That is the gist of Bhagavatam. And this is recited by Gadadhar Pandit, who is Radharani himself. So, is there any other best source to hear Bhagavatam other than Radharani? No. So, it's one of the best desire to have. So, Srinivas Acharya thought, oh, Gadadhar Pandit is still there. Mahaprabhu has left, but Gadadhar Pandit is still there. So I should take shelter of him. He is non-different to Mahaprabhu because he is Antaranga Shakti. So if I can go and hear from him, that will be a great fortune. So when he asked Narhari Sarkar Thakur, he arranged a Vaishnava to accompany him to Nilachal. In due course, Srinivasa and his companion arrived at Jagannath Puri. So they came to Jagannath Puri. Upon arrival, they took darshan of Lord Jagannath and then went to Gadadhar Pandit's home. Gadadhar Pandit was suffering greatly from separation from Lord Chaitanya because Mahaprabhu had disappeared. So Gadadhar Pandit, of course, you can imagine, he was passing his days with great difficulty. Means it is even unimaginable to think about what the associates were going through when they did not have darshan of Mahaprabhu. Of course, Mahaprabhu is eternal and he only disappears from our eyes, but still, the sight gave them life. Mahaprabhu's sight, Mahaprabhu's presence gave them life. When he was not there, they were heartbroken. Gadadhar Pandit was in a very different mood. So Gadadhar Pandit was suffering greatly from separation from Lord Chaitanya, and sometimes he was unconscious, sometimes he laughed loudly, and sometimes he appeared inert. Means he was going through a very deep separation, Vipralamba Bhav. Srinivasa approached him and offered his respectful obeisances while chanting the holy names of Chaitanya and Nityananda. As soon as Gadadhar Pandit heard the name Chaitanya, however, his sense of the Lord's separation increased. Overwhelmed by the Lord's name, Lord's name coming from your mouth. You have purchased me by chanting the name Chaitanya. So Gadadhar Pandit was overwhelmed basically by seeing Srinivasacharya and asked, "You are chanting Mahaprabhu's name, Chaitanya's name. Who are you?" Recently, I dreamt that a devotee from Chakandi, Srinivasa, son of Chaitanya Das and Lakshmi Priya, had come from Bengal. He seemed to be the personification of love of God. Srinivasacharya is personification of love of God. In my dream, I saw that he would preach the pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna. I think you are that same person. Please identify yourself and thus specify me. Radha Pandit had a dream about him very clearly. Where is he coming from? Who is his parents? Who is he in his Siddha Swarup? And why? What is the reason for his advent? So he said, I had a dream like this. So can you please now reveal who you are? You have spoken correctly, Srinivasa said. You are my master and I am your insignificant servant. So that is the etiquette Vaishnavas need to follow. He said he was glorifying him. Oh, I heard that a great devotee from Chakandi, that he said, yes, I am Srinivasa. And he introduced himself as, you are my master and I am your insignificant servant. The other Pandit said, the Lord ordered me to teach you Srimad Bhagavatam during his final. See how amazing it is. Srinivasacharya had intense desire to hear Bhagavatam. And also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had ordered Gadadhar Pandit, saying that very shortly there will be a devotee after my departure, after my disappearance, a devotee called Chaitanya Das's son, who is Srinivasacharya, will come, and you should basically teach him Srimad Bhagavatam. During his final pastimes, means Mahaprabhu's final pastimes, the Lord ordered me to narrate Krishna's pastimes to you. He also told me to leave at the Tota, Gopinath temple, until you come, and then send you to Vrindavan with a letter for Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. So everything was planned. So Mahaprabhu had a great plan that when he comes, he gets the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit at Tota Gopinath temple. That's where Mahaprabhu told Gadadhar Pandit to leave. In fact, Gadadhar Pandit survived only to give darshana to Srinivasacharya. So that was the arrangement, because Gadadhar Pandit cannot live longer from separated from the Lord. So, but this was all the divine arrangement. He also told me to leave at the Tota Gopinath temple until you come. Then send you to Vrindavan with a letter for Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. Srinivasa's lessons in Srimad Bhagavatam began immediately. While reciting the Bhagavatam to him, tears of ecstatic love flowed from Gadadhar Pandit's eyes. This made it almost too difficult to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Srinivasa's lessons in Bhagavatam began immediately. They did not waste time. So, immediately Gadadhar Pandit started. While reciting the Bhagavatam to him, tears of ecstatic love flowed from Gadadhar Pandit's eyes. This made it almost difficult to read Bhagavatam. And also, previously, most of the Bhagavatam was washed away, because Gadadhar Pandit used to read and his tears used to wash away the Bhagavatam. So, after a few days, Gadadhar Pandit told Srinivasa, take this letter and give it to Narhari Sarkar Thakur along with this new book. You should go to Sri Khanda and from there to Vrindavan. Gopal Bhatta Goswami is the incarnation of Sri Gunamanjari, and you should take initiation from him. Go today. Take Lord Gopinath's remnants and leave for Bengal. So he said, unfortunately, this book has got washed away from the tears. So you should go to Narhari Sarkar Thakur. You should get another copy of Bhagavatam and then come here and then go to Vrindavan. That's what he was giving him instruction. When Gadadhar Pandit was finished speaking, he closed his eyes and began to cry while calling out Chaitanya and Nityananda. At some moments he cried, at some moments he smiled sweetly. He was so absorbed in his feelings of separation from Lord Chaitanya that he forgot about Lord Gopinatha. Because of his intense separation from the Lord, he sometimes spoke like a madman, sometimes remained silent. He constantly displayed symptoms of ecstatic love of God. So Gadadhar Pandit went through a very high devotional sentiments. Srinivasa was astonished to witness Gadadhar Pandit's exalted condition. He offered his obeisances to him and left, carrying the letter and book for Narhari Sarkar Thakur. Soon he arrived in Bengal and went to Narhari Sarkar Thakur's house. When he entered, offered his obeisances, and then described his journey to Nilachal in detail. Srinivasa said, I have a great desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. Please allow me to return to Nilachal so I can continue my study with him, because he ordered him to get a new book. So Narhari Sarkar Thakur said, yes, you may return to Nilachal without delay. Otherwise, you might miss him. Narhari Sarkar Thakur said, yes, you may return to Nilachal. Narhari Sarkar Thakur arranged for the same Vaishnava to accompany Srinivasa to Nilachal. And Srinivasa departed, chanting Chaitanya and Gadadhar Pandit. Excited, he walked to Yajapura when he received the terrible news of Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance. See how shocking it is. Everywhere he is getting shock after shock. So he wanted to see Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu left the world. Nityananda Prabhu left the world, and he wanted to take initiation from Narhari Sarkar Thakur. That did not happen. His father passed away, and then he came to Gadadhar Pandit. He wanted to hear Bhagavatam, but that could not happen. So he rushed back to Bengal to get a copy of Bhagavatam. It was not easy to get a copy of Bhagavatam even up until the printing press started. People could even donate half the wealth to get a copy of Bhagavatam. Such was the value of Bhagavatam. It was not easily available. Now we have digital media and printing presses. Right now you can order and you can have the whole Bhagavatam set beautifully printed with good good binding and good quality paper and everything, with of course great content, great commentaries. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has written an amazing commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can have that within a day, even if you want. Right in your library, in your home, you can have it right next to you very easily, just for $150 or maybe even lesser than that. Whereas those days, people were ready to even offer half the wealth. Can you imagine then? Of course, it is priceless. Of course, what Bhagavatam can give is the highest, which can give us the highest thing, which is Krishna Prema. But do we really? We are after so many things, but Bhagavatam is right there, ready to give us everything. Bhagavad Gita is there, right there, ready to give us everything. We'll have to rush, we'll have to run for it. So Gadadhar Pandit was very, very serious about hearing Bhagavatam. It was not, it might be very, we can take it very in a light way. Oh, he wanted to hear, but it did not happen. He wanted to go back and hear. He went and collected a book. No, not just that. Bhagavatam is the essence of everything. Bhagavatam is, it is the ripened fruit of the mature tree. And who else is the best reciter of Bhagavatam? Gadadhar Pandit teaching Bhagavatam. Can we even imagine Radharani teaching us Bhagavatam? It is unimaginable. It is unparalleled in one way. So he wanted to get his life life back in one way by hearing Bhagavatam, because that's the topmost relishing activity. But unfortunately, that did not happen because, and also he was so attached to Gadadhar Pandit, and Gadadhar Pandit also left this world. He heard this news in Yajapur. When he came to Yajapur, he heard the news that he all his one way he came back to West Bengal. He got a copy and he was rushing back. It happened. So where is it? Srinivasa's condition, after a great deal of persuasion, he was finally able to make Srinivasa also jumped. The Narhari Sarkar Thakur arranged for the same Vaishnava to accompany Srinivasa to Nilachal. And Srinivasa departed chanting Chaitanya, Chaitanya, and Gadadhar Pandit. Excited, he walked to Ejapur, where he received the terrible news that Gadadhar Pandit had disappeared. Srinivasa was so shocked that he fell unconscious because his great wealth of hearing Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit was missed. Radharani reciting, Radharani is Gadadhar Pandit reciting Bhagavatam, that opportunity is missed. When he regained consciousness, he began to bitterly weep, refusing to be comforted or to eat. He was thinking, oh, so unfortunate I am. And he left eating and sleeping. His Vaishnava companion was anxious to see Srinivasa's condition. And after a great deal of persuasion, he was finally able to make Srinivasa eat something. Then both of them returned to Bengal. When Srinivasa arrived at Srikhanda, he offered his obeisances to all the senior Vaishnavas and broke the tragic news of Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance. Who can describe the feelings of separation he felt as he spoke about Gadadhar Pandit? Such feelings are natural for a genuine devotee. Whenever an exalted Vaishnava departs from this world, from that day on, Srinivasa was merged in an ocean of grief. He was deeply attached to Gadadhar Pandit and he was merged in the ocean of grief from that day on. As time passed, Srinivas developed a strong desire to go to Vrindavan. So he was in Navadvip now and he wanted to go to Vrindavan. So the next morning he left Srikhanda for Navadvip, where he came to live near Lord Chaitanya's house. So from Srikhanda, he came to Navadvip, came to Mayapur. For the first 3 days, he cried loudly throughout the day and night, speaking the name of the Gadadhar Pandit. He fasted throughout this time. Then he collected some rice and a small pot and went to the bank of Ganges to cook. He ate his meal while feeling intense separation. Means after few days he fasted. Then he collected some rice, cooked it in the pot, and then he ate that in the banks of Ganga. He ate his meal while feeling intense separation from Gadadhar Pandit. One day Srinivasa met Vamshivadananda Thakur, who asked him, Vamshivadananda Thakur is the incarnation of Krishna's flute. Krishna's flute comes as Vamshivadananda Thakur. He is also Mahaprabhu's associate. So Srinivasa met Vamshivadananda Thakur in Navadvip. This happens in Navadvip. What is your name? Where do you live? I have never seen you before. My name is Srinivasa. I live in Yajigram, he replied. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered me to study Bhagavatam under Gadadhar Pandit, but I am so unfortunate that I have been unable to do so. Gadadhar Pandit left before this happened. As Srinivasa began to cry, another devotee, Ishan Das, arrived. Ishan was compassionate toward all living entities. And as soon as he saw the great devotee Srinivasa, his heart filled with ecstasy, he asked about Srinivasa's welfare. When he heard that Srinivas was alone living like a renunciate, he immediately understood that the boy must be empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ishan Thakur is the household servant of Mahaprabhu. When Ishan returned home, he informed Vishnu Priya Devi and about Srinivasa. So Vishnu Priya Devi was still there, Mahaprabhu's wife. So Ishan Thakur was the house servant. So he used to be a great devotee of Mahaprabhu. So he went and spoke about Srinivasacharya to Vishnu Priya Devi. I met a wonderful boy on the bank of Ganges who was crying profusely while chanting Gadadhar Pandit's name. He is alone, his eyes are constantly filled with tears, and his body is thin. Kindly allow me to feed him. So he wanted to feed him. Vishnupriya understood that this boy must be the one destined to be the personification of love. She is Lakshmi Devi, she knows everything. So she knew, oh, this Srinivasacharya is none other than avatar of love. He is the personification of love of God. He is the personification of that Prema. So Vishnupriya answered, go and give him rice and other things. He must be suffering due to feelings of intense separation from my Lord. So she said, first feed him. Ishan happily gathered some cooking ingredients and went to meet Srinivasa. He said, cook this food on the bank of Ganges and eat. Just when Srinivas was about to finish cooking, however, Vishnupriya sent 10 sannyasis just to test his devotion and renunciation. See, Srinivasacharya, she sent some rice and ingredients to cook. He was cooking, but at the same time, she sent 10 sannyasis to him just to see his renunciation. People, when they are hungry, they will cook and eat. But renounced person means what? He is not attached to anything. So when the test time comes, it can be really the real quality comes out. So just to test his devotion and renunciation, Srinivasa was glad to see the sannyasis and offered them due respect.